Today's video is going to be a winged eyeliner tutorial for hooded and or smaller eyelids. I absolutely do not believe that I have perfected this at all, and I most definitely do still have the days where my eye is practically bleeding because I've had to wipe off the eyeliner so many times and redo it to try to get them even. But I have been wearing winged eyeliner for some time now, and I feel like I've gotten myself a pretty good routine that looks okay on my eye shape. But this is what I do and what I've learned to do to try to get the best wing that I possibly can. I will be demonstrating with a gel liner as well as a felt tip liner. So if you'd like to see how I do my wing liner, then just keep watching. Also, this mirror is in frame. I'm sorry about that. I just had to bring it closer so that I could see my eyes a little bit better instead of ducking my head down out of frame to do it. So I'm sorry about that being in there. Hopefully whenever I zoom in you won't be able to see it, but if you can, I'm sorry for that. Today I'm going to be using the Femme Couture Ultra Smooth Gel Liner, and I'm going to be taking that on an angled brush. Mine that I'm going to be using today is by the Color Workshop, and it just says, I'm sure that probably isn't going to show up, it just says eyeliner on it. But I do have a couple other ones by other brands that will work just the same. This one is an Eco Tools one, and this one is by Royal and Langnickel or something like that. I'm not exactly sure if that's how you pronounce it. I just don't know how else you would pronounce it. That's the name on that one. I did prime my eyelids with concealer, and now I'm just going to go ahead with like a nude shade, and I'm using that from the Ulta Beauty Rose Gold palette, the shade Prosecco. I'm just setting that concealer to make sure that it doesn't crease, because if you're drawing attention to your eyelid with the eyeliner, you're going to want to make sure that it isn't going to crease and not look good. So I'm going to go ahead with my angled brush into my gel liner. I just tap it in a couple of times. I don't really like dig or anything like that, because it is best, especially with a black product, to start out with a smaller amount and sort of build your way up than to just go heavy to begin with, and then it makes it really hard to get rid of any excess without smearing or sponging all over the rest of your face. So I'm going to go ahead from in between my two lash lines. I'm going to start at that space, and I'm going to drag a line out towards the end of my eyebrow, as you can see there. I did do it very lightly without very much product at all. I'm going to dip in again, and now with the brush facing the other direction, I'm going to bring it down towards the inner corner or the outer corner. And now that that line is just a little bit darker, I'm not going to dip in any more product this time, but I am going to just drag from about halfway down that line into my eyelid. And I just made another very faint line across my eyelid. Now I'm going to go back into the gel liner and tap in a couple of times and recreate, just trace right over that line that I just made. And now I'm going to dip in again, this time facing my brush the other way. And I just made that line connect to my lash line, but I didn't take it all the way in. Right now it just sort of ends, but we will go back and fix that later. Now you've got your liner the size that you want it to be, or the thickness of the liner that I've found that works best for me is about halfway between my first crease in my lid and my lash line, and that is what, in my opinion, looks the best on my eyelid. It's not too dramatic. It doesn't end up touching the top of my lid and therefore making it transfer. So now I'm going to dip back into the product, and I'm going to start at the tail end, and I'm going to start darkening that up and filling that in. And as I said before, make sure that you use little product at a time and build up, just so that you don't go a little bit too crazy to begin with and you're not able to fix it. And now at this point, I am just taking one little motion to connect where I ended the liner to begin with to the actual inner corner of my eye. And now I'm just continuing to darken up at the tail. I just made a little bit of a mess at the bottom of that wing, so at this point I'm going to take some concealer. Now I'm just going to touch the applicator with my concealer brush and get a little bit on there. And I'm just going to clean up at the bottom of this wing a little bit. Now this part is purely about preference. I don't personally like for the liner to curve that hard, so I'm going to go in with just a little bit more liner and try to straighten out that line a little bit. Just going to go a little bit further up the wing and bring it down a little bit harder. And that is my finished gel liner wing. It's how I like it to look. You can always change the thickness of the wing and the length of the wing and all that using the same steps. Just don't go as far or go farther, etc. And it just takes practice, and especially using a gel liner. I've used gel liner now 3 times, and I still don't quite have the handle on it. It does smear a whole lot easier than like the felt tips and the pencils and stuff. So whenever you're cleaning up with concealer, if you need to do that, just make sure that you're not touching a whole lot of the liner itself, because it will drag out as far as you'll let it. Now I've taken that gel liner off, and I've gone ahead and re-prepped my eyelid using the concealer and the light eyeshadow. And now I'm going to show how to do the same wing liner with a felt tip. And as I said before, it is going to be the same steps, so maybe this part's not really necessary, but I just figured why not show both, because they do work a little bit differently. But like I said, same steps. So I'm going to start at that little space in between my upper and lower lash line, and I'm going to draw a line out going towards my eyebrow. And it is thinner because it's not a whole angled brush. And now I'm going to take that line, and about halfway down I'm going to drag it over to my lashes. And now I'm going to fill in the space inside the little triangle part that is the actual wing, and make the edge of the wing a little bit darker. And now I'm going to go ahead and connect the end of the wing, or the end of the line, from right here all the way into the inner corner. Now I do tend to go through the felt tip liner a little bit faster because this is what I'm the most comfortable with. I've been using this a lot longer than the gel liner. So now I've got that line connected, and I'm going to just fill in the actual line itself right on top of my eyelid. And again, it's about the same thickness. It's between my lash line and my first crease in my eyelid. It's about halfway, maybe a little bit more. Now again, I'm going to take some of my concealer, touch my applicator with a brush, and I'm just going to take that along the bottom line of the eyeliner. And I kind of hit that a little bit too hard, so I'm going to take the eyeliner itself again and just redraw that line. I forgot to mention too that the felt tip liner that I use is the Avon Superextend Precise Liquid Eyeliner, and this is in the shade black. That's all it's called, and that is the finished liner.